Hi, I'm Hannah, this is Piles of Books, and today I'm going to be talking about my reading plans for the month of April 2024. Like, I haven't been picking books out. Okay, so I'm sitting a little bit awkwardly in this room because behind you, what you cannot see, is a huge, it's a mess in here. We brought all of the books over here from our old house, and they're just sitting in boxes waiting to somehow fit onto these shelves behind me. They're going to be sitting in boxes for probably a couple of weeks. Last week we had a big weekend. It was my sister's baby shower, amongst other things, and then this coming weekend is not only Easter, but I am hosting a baby shower for my husband's cousin. So there's just a lot going on. So I'm trying to finish up my March books. I'm making Easter clothes for my kids. Anyway, there's a lot going on. But my mind has kind of been looking forward to slowing down a bit in April, and I think I have kind of overloaded myself with book ideas that I would really like to get to. My stack for this month is definitely a pile of possibilities. It's not an official TBR because there's no way I'm gonna get to all of these, but we're gonna have fun trying, right? And that's the point. All right, so let's get into it. We are going to start with talking about Alcott April. This is put on by some very lovely ladies. I am excited to participate. I will leave all of their channels linked below. And let me grab my reading journal so I can remember the prompts. So the group read is The Inheritance by Louisa May Alcott. I do not own this book, but I am planning to grab a copy from the library. I should definitely do that as soon as I get done filming so that I don't forget. But then there are 4 prompts. So the first one is a nonfiction about Louisa May Alcott, and I have a biography. I looked on my shelf and I can't find it, so it must be in one of these boxes that I brought from the other house, because they are mostly like biographies and history and nonfiction. So I will look in there, but what I probably will really get to, because it is like a younger reader, is this the story of Louisa May Alcott. This is a signature book. We love these around here. So I've talked about a series, Childhood of Famous Americans, and I think that these books are kind of the next step up. So there are like just a few illustrations in here, but I have not read this one. I believe my son has, but I haven't, so I'll probably read this one for that, and I may even read it out loud to my kids. The next one is to watch an adaptation. So I have seen different movie versions of Little Women. My favorite is actually not the most recent adaptation, but it's like probably the one before that. I want to say it came out in 2017. I think that I was expecting my second, but it might have been like 2018. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a PBS movie. It's 2 parts. I really liked it, and I have actually wanted to rewatch it here lately. So when I saw that it was one of the prompts for Alcott April, I thought, well, that will be perfect. So I'm definitely going to try to work that one in. Okay, a work that inspired Louisa is the next one. So I watched everyone's videos, and Dia, I believe it was, mentioned Dickens, and I know that Louisa was just really well read. So an easy one that I think that I could do is the Pickwick Papers. I shouldn't say easy, but I'm actually about halfway through this. My bookmark is still in here from where I left it off last year. Anyway, so I'm gonna try to finish this one for that. And then the last one is a work written by a neighbor. I was really impressed when I found out who some of her neighbors were. And one of them was Nathaniel Hawthorne, who wrote The Scarlet Letter. So this is a book that I read in high school. I haven't read it since. I didn't love it in high school, but like I could see the importance of it, I guess. It is one that I have wanted to reread. So I'm going to put this down for that prompt, and we will see if I get to it. Alright, so next, I guess we can talk about my nonfiction picks. So the first 3 are from my 24 nonfiction list that I made at the beginning of the year. The first one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I think that this should be fairly easy to get through. And then Loving God with All Your Mind by Elizabeth George. So I've never read this book. I did enjoy, though, several years ago, her book, A Woman After God's Own Heart. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. And then Studies on the Sermon on the Mount by Oswald Chambers. So this is a really thin book. It is 108 pages. But from what I remember, it is really dense. So I haven't read this since I was 18. I think I was 18 when I read it. And it was good, but it was just like kind of a slog to get through. So I will probably I think the chapters are pretty broken up in like good increments. So I'll probably just like count those up and then see how many of those little sections I need to do per day to get this done like through the whole month. And the next is a nonfiction that was from my spring TBR that I shared just the other day. This is Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortland. So I have heard such good things about this book, and I'm excited to read this. And then next we have Know and Tell why can't I say that? Know and Tell, The Art of Narration by Karen Glass. So like I mentioned before, we are Charlotte Mason homeschoolers, and narration is a really vital part of our home education. So we are taking the whole month of April off of school, and then we will pick back up in May and do another 12-week term. So my plan was to get this read before we start school back up. We'll see if that happens. Okay, and then my very last nonfiction book that I would like to get to is Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Peltz. I plan to get to that one like as soon as April gets here. Okay. I apologize if you can hear some extra noise. My 2-year-old is playing right outside the door. I guess the big kids aren't being very nice to him or something. It's probably the other way around. Okay, so next I'm going to be talking about what I will be reading for the Literary Life Reading Challenge. Okay, I'm going to probably have to finish Ivanhoe in April. I am over halfway through. I am loving this story, but it is just not what I am like grabbing every day trying to get through in March. I might get it done, but probably not. So I'm probably going to be finishing that. And then I was supposed to read the Canterbury Tales in the month of March as well, but I didn't even open this. So like I had said in my March TBR video, this is a prose rendering of Chaucer's Tales, and I have heard that it's really best to read it in poetry form because that's how it was originally written. So I don't have the poetry version, I don't think, unless it's in one of these like Harvard classics. Oh man, look at that right there. I think I do have it. Chaucer. Well, anyway. It is. Anyway. There is some in here, so I can't even really tell you. There's the prologue to the Canterbury Tales and the Nun Priest's Tale. So I cannot really tell you anything about that, but I am excited about that. So that's really fun. I thought I had looked in that set and I didn't see it, but anyway, I don't even know if that's part of the Canterbury Tales, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to read something by Chaucer to fit that that category for that time period. So April is going to be just catching up for the Literary Life Reading Challenge, not actually like reading any new books for that. I am making a valiant effort to follow along with their actual podcast, and they just read like a book at a time and then, you know, just divide it up over several weeks, or I don't know if it's necessarily a month, but just several weeks. So the second book for the year is actually a play. It's Tartuffe by Moliere. Anyway, so I bought this to read along with that, and I have absolutely no clue what it's about at all, but I bought that for that. Okay, so I've just got 4 left to talk about really fast. The first one is Bells on Their Toes. This is the sequel to Cheaper by the Dozen. So I chose this because it was on my spring TBR, but also because Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge for the month of April, we're supposed to read a book where the main character or a character has red hair, and I believe, if I remember correctly, most, like, if not all of the Gilbreth children have red hair. So I am going to do that one, and I am excited about it. And then next is Across 5 Aprils. So this is just also from my spring TBR. Now this one is not necessarily like a priority, but it's not very long either, so I think I should be able to get to that one. Okay, so the next one is The Story Girl by Ella Montgomery. So I chose this because it is on my spring TBR, but I am going to make it more of a priority because, if I understand correctly, it also takes place on Prince Edward Island, and I need a book that takes place primarily on an island to fill a prompt in another reading challenge that I have not talked about. I haven't, so far this year, I have not picked any books like specific to that challenge. Just as I've read books, if they, fill a category for that, I just fill them in my reading journal. But if I'm going to finish that this year, I'm going to have to start prioritizing it a little bit more. So anyway, this should take care of that. And the last one is also for that reading challenge as well. It is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So this book, truly, I would not have picked this up if I did not know that people rave about it. It is not at all, does not look at all like something that I would normally read, but I know that people love this book. So anyway, I need, along with that other reading challenge that I was just talking about, one of the other categories is a book that highlights the challenges of being an outsider. So I'm guessing that this one is probably going to fill that pretty well. Alright, that is it. That is all I have to share today. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, this is a huge stack. There's no way I'm going to get through all of these in April, but I'm hoping that I can find several of them on audiobook, and that way I should probably be able to get through quite a few. So we'll see, I guess, at the end of the month. So of course, as always, I would love to know your thoughts on these books. If there's something that you liked or something that you didn't like, I would love to know in the comments below. I hope that you guys all have a great Easter weekend, and we will see you in the next video.